And now, Business in Blue Jeans Radio with your host, Susan Baroncini-Moe.
Hello, and welcome to the program. Hey, thanks for joining me for the next half hour. I've got a great show for you today. This week I interviewed Carrie Wilkerson, who is also known as the Barefoot Executive. Carrie is a mega successful entrepreneur, and she and I got to chatting on Twitter not too long ago, and we were talking about the charities that we love. And this conversation came about in a really interesting way. I guess Carrie went to my website and saw that I share on my website about the charities that I support and that I believe in, and she commented on that, and then we ended up in this back and forth dialogue. And we talked about how what we do with our businesses and our charities is a little different from how a lot of entrepreneurs handle their charitable giving. And as we kind of tweeted back and forth in this conversation, we realized that it was a really good topic to share with our audiences, and it was really worth having a much longer dialogue about. And so we decided to record an interview for the show about that. So my interview with Carrie and talking about charitable giving is coming up, and I'm also going to share a little with you about my favorite charities today. Now, a quick bit of housekeeping before we get too much further into today's show. As I mentioned last week, now I know it's unconventional to say that I don't really know how often I'll be doing the show, but I don't, and there are a few reasons for that. The first is we're shaking a few bugs out. We've got a new website. We've got a lot of new things going on, and we're shaking all the little bugs out. So the other thing is I'm really new to this medium, and I'm really fitting all of this into my schedule as I'm able to find the time. And I do travel a lot. I do a lot of speaking engagements. I have clients. I'm busy. And so I'm fitting this in as I have time. And I'm finding that as I prepare for subsequent episodes, they're getting easier, because we've been preparing for the next few episodes already, and it's getting easier, and it's going a little faster each time I do it, and certainly faster than the first one. So anyway, I don't yet know. I'd love to be able to say I'll do this every week, but I'm still shaking out the bugs. So you can come to my website every single week and see if I have a new episode posted. I'm not going to stop you. That's fine with me. I certainly won't complain. But if you'd like to save yourself some time, last week there was only one option. That option was, if you want to know when new episodes are posted, subscribe to the email newsletter. And if you want to still do that, that's okay. You just go to the businessinbluejeans.com website, and at the top of every page, you're going to see a sign-up form. All you have to do is enter your name and email address, click a green button. There's a very pretty green button there, and it's fun to click, and all you have to do is click that button. You'll be subscribed to the email newsletter. You'll get a free copy of one of my ebooks, which is very cool. It's a good book, if I do say so myself. But you'll also get notifications anytime I post new episodes of Business in Blue Jeans Radio, and when I post in my blog. And you'll also get special deals and notifications of any new stuff that comes out of Business in Blue Jeans. And don't worry, I'm not going to email you all the time. I won't share your email address with anyone. I don't care what pretty shiny object or whatever that they share, I'll try to bribe me with. I won't be sharing those things. Now, the other option that is available to you is new. We have an RSS feed for Business in Blue Jeans Radio, and that is on the Business in Blue Jeans Radio page. So if you go to businessinbluejeans.com, click on any page in the site, you can click on the Business in Blue Jeans Radio button, and it will take you, and that's in the right-hand column of the screen, and it will take you to the Business in Blue Jeans Radio page, and on that page you'll find a subscribe by RSS feed button, and that will allow you to add the RSS feed to any of your RSS readers. So now you have two options. How exciting. And hopefully soon will be available in iTunes for your iPad, iPhone, and on Android devices, and I think also on your Kindle. We're working on all these things, so I'll keep you posted as we go along. Now, let's get some news. Welcome back. You're listening to Business in Blue Jeans Radio, and I'm your host, Susan Baroncini-Moe. This week, we learned that Twitter is doing a special exclusive deal with American Express to expand its self-service advertising platform. And the ad program is set to launch at the end of March. Now, Twitter has set up a website that's inviting people to register for the program. It's open to American Express cardholders and merchants who use Twitter to tweet business news and updates to their followers and who actively engage with and respond to other Twitter users through mentions, retweets, and replies. Now, the first 10,000 users who register will get $100 by signing up at, write this down, ads.twitter.com/Amex. That's ads.twitter.com/Amex. So I wanted to make sure you guys knew about that because if you're interested in using Twitter advertising, that is a great opportunity for you. Remember last week when I talked about how most of the businesses that are legally considered to be small businesses in the United States aren't actually what most of us think about when we think about small business? How we think that, the mom and pop shop and your electrician, your plumber, or your hairdresser, we think of those as small businesses. Well, remember last week I said the government thinks a little differently than you and I do? And remember how I said that 75% of small businesses don't have any employees, but because we represent only 3.4% of the revenue, we're not factored into most statistics and reports, so it's kind of like we don't exist? Right. Well, I'm going to keep on talking about this, and I'm going to tell you why. I think it's really fascinating to see how all of this stuff operates. And there's so much in the news about the 2012 presidential race, and there's so much going on with people talking about small business and stimulating the economy, and it's really fascinating because, interestingly, somebody started talking about this week and actually reporting and making some sense about this small business thing that I've been talking about. In the Washington Post, there was an article about small business and how politicians love to tout the importance of small business and entrepreneurship in saving our economy. But they talked about how these economists said that most small businesses aren't actually very adept at creating jobs, at least not creating the best jobs. And they said that their role in generating national wealth has actually been exaggerated. Oh, what a shock there. Look, this article said that the problem is that not all small businesses are created equal, and that makes sense, right? There are some businesses that are just getting off the ground that have no employees. Businesses like if you're a solo entrepreneur or you are creating a business that you're self-employed. For example, we have a housekeeper and it's just her and her husband. They have no employees. And they're just getting up off the ground. So that's one kind of small business. That's one kind of startup. Now, there are businesses that are just getting up off the ground that contribute to the country's job growth. And those are the kinds of businesses that contribute to most of the company's job growth. But older small businesses cut as many jobs as they add. And politicians like to say that small companies create 2 out of every 3 jobs in a given year. But the thing is that remember that 99 of those small businesses in the United States. I mean, we have 6 million companies in the U.S. 99.9% of them are small businesses with fewer than 500 workers, and 99% of the small businesses have fewer than 100 workers, and 75% have none. So, I mean, we also there are studies that are showing that small businesses no more than 5 years old, that's like 40% of small businesses, are the ones that are creating more jobs and creating more than they're cutting. So large businesses, despite getting a lot of headline attention for layoffs, are actually the ones that create more jobs than small business. But, I think it's more popular to talk about small business because so many of us are in small business and we don't know they're not actually talking about us. So it's interesting, really interesting. And also, the Times-Union website reported that the SBA, now the SBA is the Small Business Administration. This is the branch of the government that is designed to support and encourage small business growth. The SBA concluded that larger businesses in 3 sub-industries in the professional, scientific, and technical services may be considered small businesses after all. Interesting, no? Under these new standards, a greater emphasis is going to be placed on average firm size, degree of competition, and federal contracting trends. And it's estimated that under these new guidelines, Around 8,350 additional larger businesses will be eligible for the SBA's programs. Now, that's larger businesses that will be considered small businesses. Again, they are not moving in the direction of helping micro entrepreneurs here, and they're moving in the direction of helping large business to take advantage of opportunities that are created for and being offered to small business. Small business. I mean, really? And not only that, but I do want to say this. The Gallup Economy website reported that U.S. small business owners who aren't hiring are most likely to say the reason they're not doing so is because they don't need new employees. They're worried about revenues and cash flow, and they're worried about the economy. And it's interesting because you have to ask who they're hiring. They're stating these big statistics. They're saying 1 in 4 small business owners are not hiring because they worry they may not be in business in 12 months. Okay, but who are they surveying? Because it's good that their hiring intentions are the best they've been since January of 2008. But they also were saying that the percentage who plan to hire new employees still represents a minority of small business owners. Well, of course, that makes sense. It's only a minority of small business owners who would actually hire employees in the first place anyway. I mean, you have to follow the news so closely and think so critically about what you're reading, what you're seeing out there, because they're saying, let's break it down for a second. If you looked at this study and you read that U.S. small business owners who aren't hiring is basically 85%. 85% of U.S. small business owners aren't hiring right now. You might go, oh my gosh, that's terrible. But we know that 75% of all businesses don't have employees anyway and aren't planning on hiring them. So how many of the businesses that they surveyed in this survey would hire in other circumstances? I just think it's important to look at these things. And unfortunately, I think it makes the news really confusing. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's crazy. But I will say this. The whole positive outlook thing is really good. And it's supported by the Wall Street Journal's Market Watch, which reported this week that Wells Fargo and Gallup Small Business, their index survey for mid-January in 2012, said that the America's small business owners are the most optimistic they've been since the middle of 2008. And that's great news. That's actually really great news. So people are getting excited. Let's see, what else is in the news? Remember I said that tax regulations and incentives aren't really for us as micro entrepreneurs? Well, economists said that to comply with federal regulations on the environment, for instance, companies with fewer than 20 workers spent $4,101 per worker in 2008. That's 4.5 times more than companies employing 500 or more, according to the Small Business Administration. And the same study that showed that also showed that these businesses spent 3 times more per worker on tax preparation than their larger counterparts. Again, I want to say they are not working to help you, the micro entrepreneur. It breaks my heart because I wish I was telling you something different. I wish I was saying the government is helping the micro entrepreneur. They're really trying to help people who are starting up businesses on a shoestring, but they're not. And it really is sad. It really, really disappoints me. So let's talk about something positive. Let's talk about something else. After nearly 50,000 votes for over 250 nominated authors, we have our winners for the 2012 Small Business Book Awards, which is a competition put out by BizTrends. Among the top overall winners were Pro Blogging Action Plan by Jane Shiba, Accelerate by Arnie Cohen, and Managing with a Conscience by Frank Sonnenberg. And if you'd like to see more winners, please visit bookawards.smallbiztrends.com. Coming up, my interview with Carrie Wilkerson, the Barefoot Executive. But first, the coolest thing of the week. Business in Blue Jeans Radio, and I'm your host, Susan Baroncini-Moe. And now the coolest thing of the week. This week, the coolest thing is Dropbox, which is an amazing way to share files. You can share files with people on your team, with your other computers, and with your computer and your phone, with your iPad. And it doesn't just let you save files, but it keeps them updated for you. And it even works when you're offline, so you can access your files whenever you want. Now, I discovered it this week because I needed to share something with my sound guy. Hi, sound guy. And so, I started testing it out as an option for, when I want to share a big file, or even when I'm traveling. I do a lot of international travel, and my airline doesn't have Wi-Fi on international flights. Also, when I travel, I try to take my iPad instead of my laptop because it's a lot lighter, and I love to travel light. And Dropbox apparently allows me to do that pretty seamlessly. So all I had to do was download the program and install it, and then the software kind of walked me through setting up all the Dropbox folder on my laptop and putting stuff in it. You can choose which folders get shared and synced and when, but basically now all of my files from my laptop are current and available on my phone and my iPad, and backed up and protected, which is very cool. And like I said, it's we also share files with team members. So, when I'm done recording this show, for example, I'll be sending the files to my awesome sound guy. And again, hi sound guy. He heard that. And honestly, my sound guy's awesome, and he cleans everything up and he makes everything sound really perfect for you. And all I have to do is get him the files when I'm done. And so all I have to do that is drag them to my Dropbox folder, and he has instant access. So it's perfect. It's super efficient, and I love efficiency. So the best part is that Dropbox is free. It works across all platforms: Mac, PC, Linux, iPhone, Android, iPad. I mean, if you're going to take up a ton of space, though, you'll want to buy some space, right? But for most people, it's free. So I want to encourage you to check out Dropbox at dropbox.com. And now, my interview with Carrie Wilkerson, the Barefoot Executive. Welcome back. You're listening to Business in Blue Jeans Radio, and I'm your host, Susan Baroncini-Moe. This week, I interviewed Carrie Wilkerson, also known as the Barefoot Executive. Carrie and I have been friends with the same folks for years, and we've just never actually spoken, which is weird. But suddenly, a couple of weeks ago, we ended up chatting on Twitter, and I think Carrie went to my website and saw my charities page and saw how I handle charities in my business. And she commented on it, and I saw it. And then we ended up in this conversation about charities and how we integrate them into our businesses. Now, before I get to today's interview, I want to tell you a little bit about one of my chosen charities, because it's something I really haven't done before. I haven't really shared things publicly. The only way I've ever told people about the causes that I support is by sharing them on the website. And I never really even pointed anyone to those pages. I just have kind of kept quiet about it. So today that changes. Today I'm going to start sharing my charities. And so I'm going to share one of them today, and then I'll share others in subsequent shows. I want to make sure I'm really choosy about the charities that I support. Over the years, I've chosen charities and foundations that really speak to my soul and really tap into the issues that touch me personally on a very deep, fundamental level for a variety of reasons. Now, some of you who have been following me for a while, some of you who know me, may know that actually exactly 8 years ago this week, my mom passed away. She won her first bout with breast cancer, but it came back, and when it did, it took her life. And I spent a lot of time looking at the various breast cancer organizations because I wanted to spend a lot of time learning about what happened to her. When she first got breast cancer, I started learning. I did one of the 3-day walks for breast cancer, and really wanted to support my mom and help her and learn as much as I could about what she was going through. And so I really looked at all of the organizations out there and really researched them. And ultimately, I realized there was one organization that I felt very strongly about. I felt it was very uncompromising in its representation of women. It's called Breast Cancer Action. And it's actually a group that was founded in San Francisco in 1990 by women who were in a breast cancer support group, and they were frustrated by the lack of knowledge about their disease. Tell me about it. I have to say, I have learned so much with the educational material that they have on their website. And the thing that really blew me away the most was their Think Before You Pink campaign. And if you haven't seen this, I would really encourage you to go to thinkbeforeyoupink.org. It is an amazing website. Really taught me a lot. So Breast Cancer Action is the first organization that's near and dear to my heart. Honestly, literally right now, just talking about it gives me goosebumps. That's how much I love them and support them. Now that I've talked about my first favorite charity, let me talk about Carrie Wilkerson and her charity. Carrie is really the voice of experience because she has been in corporate life. She's been a high school teacher. She's worked in direct sales. She has been a successful information marketer and coach, and she's really kind of been there, done that, both personally and professionally. Carrie, as we discussed in our interview, is super passionate about orphans, and she became an overnight mom to 2 toddlers that she adopted. And when that happened, her priorities really shifted and the way she wanted to work shifted. So she's now a mega success. She's built several businesses. She's overcome extreme debt. She's lost 110 pounds. And she's had 2 more children. So she has now a crew of 4 children, ranging from toddler and teen. She's really busy. Now, as the Barefoot executive, Carrie and her network of experts have quickly become a definitive resource for helping others to achieve extra income and career goals while working from home. She's currently a mentor, a coach, and advisor for over 100,000 men and women as the Barefoot executive through her videos, podcasts, masterminding, mentoring, and live speaking. And Carrie's work-at-home methods have inspired thousands, and she's earned many awards both offline and online. Carrie's a sought-after speaker, and she really speaks to every audience, gender, genre, and generation. And her passion is teaching others to fill their stadium with fans so that marketing is easy and business is abundant. And I have to say, she is a delight. She is a super nice lady. So having introduced Carrie now, let's get into the first clip from the interview.
Well, one of the things we were talking about on Twitter was how kind of frustrating it is to see businesses do these like one-off promotions for charities, like 5% of all proceeds from this event go to this charity, versus really integrating the charitable interest into the business itself. And I think that it needs to be at the heart of what you do. Like when I talk about finding your fervor, it's really a part of what I'm passionate about. So like I hate that there are these little girls out there in third world countries who were sold sometimes by their families into slavery. And so I love that Somali mom is out there helping them. And so it's, I think, like what you're saying is it's really passionate, it's something I'm passionate about, and it's something that's a part of the goals I create. And I really get the sense that that's where we're really aligning. I mean, it seems like a lot of businesses just get it wrong. Why do you think that is?
Well, one, because of greed. You know, they can't see any taking off the bottom line for somebody else on a consistent basis. They think they're doing good when they have the pink ribbon sale once a year, or when they do the Walk for Heart awareness once a year, or that they give their employees a day off to go do the Susan G. Komen walk, or whatever that happens to be. And you know, I think what started our discussion was we saw a website where somebody said a portion of the proceeds. They didn't even say how much. A portion of the proceeds. They may have even said a portion of the profits. You know, there's all kinds of tricky ways they can word it. Goes towards this one cause for this promotion within 2 weeks. And I'm thinking, holy smokes, 10% of my business off the top, cream off the top, not off expenses, not after we do payroll, not after. It's 10% off the top goes for parentless children. Is it because I can afford it? Well, of course I can afford it now, but I mean, we've done that before we could afford it. And so some months it was just a few $100s or even less than that, but it grows as my business grows. And the truth is that's what propels me to grow my business. I don't grow my business because I need a bigger house or because I want to travel more or whatever. I grow my business because that's more kids that I can support. And I think businesses get it wrong because they really think that's taking away from their own profit, when the fact is you just can't outdo good. You just can't, you know, in my faith and the way I believe is you just can't outgive God. And so I'm really passionate about it. Now, since you and I had this conversation, I spoke at an event in Atlanta, and the 3 keynotes there, we're all passionate about orphans. We all, like one of them was running a marathon and had his list raise a tremendous amount of money. He was throwing up during the marathon. He was so sick, but he couldn't stop because of the orphans. He said that to me would be like taking thousands of dollars out of their mouths. He said, I just couldn't do it. But the three of us were speaking there, and it just so happened that in the audience was Claire, who wrote Twitter for Good, which is all about using Twitter and social media for change. And so you need to look Claire up on Twitter. She actually works at Twitter. And it was really amazing. Yeah, goosebumps, right? So it was really amazing because we're all using our platform. We're supposed to be teaching about business, and about every third word is orphan or, other world country. And the fact is, the three of us, we don't begrudge that portion of our profits we send. We get excited about doing launches and about selling things so that we can give more. I said my daughter's going to work with orphans this summer. It's her first orphan trip. We're already planning next summer. 4 of us are going to Africa to work in Uganda with the kids who've been orphaned because of the HIV crisis, the AIDS crisis in Africa. And so I'm taking 2 16-year-olds and then another mom is going with me, and we're going to work out there for 2 weeks. And of course, we'll do a safari at the end of it. But that to me, it's a no-brainer. Would I rather go do Disney World, or would I rather go really model social change for my kids and model that everything we do can absolutely affect good? So I don't know if it's a balancing the books problem or if it's a heart problem. I mean, I really don't know. But I think a lot of people think they can't afford it. But this is why the percentage model is so powerful. And this is how I do all of my books. I mean, here's just some general business training, at no extra charge from the Barefoot Executive. I always say, do your entire budget based on percentages. So, I have a personal growth budget, on courses or seminars or education, and it's a percentage of my income. My household expenses, we base that on a percentage of our income. Our savings, our giving, our everything is based on a percentage, so that, if you don't have anything to give, it's because you're not making anything. If you want to give more, make more. And it's not about after this is paid and after that's paid. Everything goes in its percentage bucket, so that even if it's $5 a month or $10 a month, it starts. And those are some of the concepts I actually learned in like the Automatic Millionaire.
Great book.
Yeah, it talks about just setting up your little account to have the automatic debits of this percent and that percent and that percent. And then the truth is that then the more you have going into those accounts, it's automatically set aside. So I think that's where some people get it wrong, is they think they have to be Bill Gates before they can meaningfully give or meaningfully do. But the fact is, when you're involved in social media or have an email list or have any kind of a business database list, you can build significantly your cause, and you can give meaningfully.
Now, Carrie and I got a lot more in depth in this interview about charities and how to make them a part of your business and your life. We also talked about how to increase your visibility, because you want to increase your visibility so that your business obviously makes more money, but also so that you can reach more people and get more people involved in what you're really passionate about. So if you liked this clip, you can hear the full interview at businessandbluejeans.com by signing up for the Legends of Mega Success Business Growth Club. And you'll get this interview plus every interview I'll be doing for Business and Blue Jeans Radio. And you'll also get webinars from my friends and partners and a whole lot more. Now, one great thing about Carrie is that she's a pretty serious public speaker. She speaks to audiences all the time, and all kinds of audiences and all sizes. So in this last clip from the interview, I asked Carrie about her favorite quality in an audience.
I like an engaged audience. I like an audience that has elected to be there. That's probably the biggest shift for me between teaching high school and training adults, is that the adults have to show up on their own accord. They're not required to be there. Nobody's looking over their shoulder to make sure they're there. They're more of an engaged audience.
Again, if you enjoyed this clip and you want to hear more, you'll find the entire interview in the Legends of Mega Success Business Growth Club at businessandbluejeans.com. That's it for this episode of Business and Blue Jeans Radio. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to hear more, you can subscribe to my email newsletter to receive notifications whenever I post new episodes or blog posts, and to get special deals and notifications for new programs. All you have to do is use the sign-up form at the top of every page on the website at businessandbluejeans.com. And you can also now subscribe to the RSS feed for the show. You can also find Business in Blue Jeans on Facebook at Biz in Blue Jeans, and tweet me at Sue B. Moe. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.